So, as stated in my last Undertale installment, I said I would go over Flowey's character, one of the most intriguing characters in Undertale, and undoubtedly one of the scariest. However, his explanation will be divided into two parts, one being what we know about Flowey, and the second being what is speculated about him. So let's go over what we know, and what is backed by evidence. Now, even if I have gone over True Lab's origins, there was one thing I did not mention. These were the tapes found in a room on the left of the determination extraction thing. The first tape consists of Toriel and Asgore, as where Toriel is heard making points about being a mom. Not much to say though, just a better reason as to why Toriel should have been a mom. Idiot. In tape 2, only Asriel is heard speaking, asking Chara to do a scary face, yet forgetting to remove the lens cap. However, in tape 3, things become increasingly worrying, as Asriel brings up an incident between Chara and Asgore. Asriel describes how him and Chara accidentally poisoned Asgore by making a pie recipe's ingredients as buttercups instead of cups of butter. He then makes a comment detailing how he should have just left it off like Chara. Immediately after this memory was brought up though, we assume it's Chara, demands for Asriel to turn the camera off. We'll trace back to this tape eventually, so keep it in the back of your mind. As tape 4 initiates, we already begin to see a glimpse into Chara and their character. Asriel speaking protests a certain idea of Chara, who cuts back at him with a comment which we can assume is the phrase, "It gets some cry." This tape is where the idea of a supposed freedom, quote-unquote, is introduced. Finally, tape 5 begins to play. We're introduced by the place of Toriel and Asgore, as they tell Chara to wake up. Not much context is given, but if we successfully piece together the previous tapes, we can decipher Chara's intention and actions. However, there's one more small detail I'd like to mention. This is Asriel saying, "We only need 6 more souls, right?" If we take this in the correct context, we see Toriel and Asgore being excited about their new kid, Asriel. As fun as the tape was, we unfortunately cannot take much context from it. Tape 2 details Asriel and Chara's relationship as friends, and not much else. In tape 3, as we've said, Asriel details how he and Chara accidentally poisoned Asgore. However, this poisoning may not have been accidental at all. As far as theories go, we know that Chara poisoned themselves during tape 5. Because of this correlation, we're able to assume that the likeliest reason for Chara's murder attempt was in order to see how fatal a certain poison was on human. Scientifically speaking though, this wouldn't make much sense, as Asgore is, 1, a completely different species from Chara, and 2, he's twice as big as them, meaning that error percent would be way too high for a proper science experiment. But setting that aside, you're probably wondering what any of this has to do with the plot. So you see, Chara, for whichever reason, was vengeful against humans. They wanted to see the collapse of humanity, even if it took their own life. However, this was not Chara's first attempt at death. As many theories speculate, Chara's initial fall from Mount Ebod was her first suicide attempt. Although there's no clear reason as to why, it does explain their fall to the underground. Before any of this were to happen though, it is presumed that Chara explained their plans to wipe out humanity during tape 4, receiving a pretty rational response from Asriel. However, it seemed that Chara is manipulating Asriel in order to follow their plans through. Chara's final plan was to open the barrier to the human world for monsters in order to free them and consequently wipe out the human race. This required 7 souls in total. Chara was the first soul, the one Asriel would absorb before being killed by villagers in the overworld. Asriel then soon returns to the underworld with fatal injuries, laying to a permanent rest on a bed of golden flowers. As we see now, Chara's plan was to wipe out humanity by the means of either sharing a body with Asriel through their souls being linked together, or by freeing the monsters from the underworld and starting a new war, one which would kill all humans. Now, in our current game, 6 souls have already been collected, ours being the 7th. Let's put all this lore up aside for a second though. Who the hell is Flowey, and why does he always speak to us in such a strange manner, as if we already know who we are? In order to know who Flowey is though, we must stroll off a little, up to the termination experiments, that is. When Dr. Alphys was conducting the termination experiments, she took a sample from the royal garden's bed of golden flowers, And as I've stated before in my other video, when a monster's dust is spread over their favorite item, their essence now lives in it. This golden flower, who then escaped Alphys's lab, become who we know and love, Flowey. Something interesting to note though, is that Alphys has actually stated some sort of foreshadowing towards Flowey. Since we read her entries in True Lab, she states, what would happen if something without a soul earns the will to live, which we now know was indirectly referencing Flowey. Most of the mystery surrounding Flowey stems from his dialogue surrounding you in the beginning of the game, as well as his references in True Lab, which only add to the unnerving atmosphere that Undertale so greatly creates. Now, most of the things I've stated in this video are facts already found in game or said by Toby Fox. However, there are a lot of conspiracies that come with Flowey's character, which I will be covering in the next Undertale explanation installment, so please feel free to check that out once the video comes out, and thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. Bye bye!